Hi. I am responding to the claim that continuation in genetically altering food plants and commercializing them can improve lifestyle. My claim is that genetically altered foods are unsafe and have a negative effect on the environment and on people. My first claim is that genetically altered food plants, or GMs, are unsafe for consumption. Research from an online article from WebMD shows that as much as 70% of prepackaged food contains GMs. Some examples of common GMs purchased would be maize and soybeans. This means foods that contain corn or have high fructose corn syrup are genetically altered, including baby food, even though most people aren't aware of it. Altered food risks include antibiotic resistance, change in the nutrient content of a crop, accidental contamination between alternation of crops with non-altered crops, introducing toxins to other foods also. Another outline article by Opposing Views shows that women and infant children that are affected the most by GMs. Studies by biologist David Sherbert shows that women who ate GMs while pregnant gave birth to small babies. GM safety expert Apad Pasuti has researched the GM's effect on people's immune system, which came as a negative effect. They increase chances of a person having asthma, allergies, and inflammation. Genetically altered food plants also have a negative effect on the environment. Professor Don Herbert at Purdue University had noted a difference between a number of plants decrease in the use of Roundup. The more years Roundup, which is a systematic herbicide, has been used, the more plant diseases appear. These genetically engineered plants become immune to pesticides and become vulnerable to attacks from bugs and bacteria. There are also risks and viruses that derive from GM crops that may give away to new viruses. An online article by Environmental Hazards states that genetic altered plant viruses are developing and staggering in ways scientists cannot avoid. In conclusion, as a result of genetically altering plants, we have covered that genetically altered plants can be harmful to consumers, especially women and infants. And GMs are also harmful to the environment by creating plant diseases, which affect non-GM plants as well as insects that fight plant diseases. GMs are affecting people negatively, and the sad thing is how they are unaware of it. Thank you.
Well, you identify the claim that's being presented pretty well. There's no discussion of what the advocate's secondary issues are. You basically just go with your argument on the counterclaims. Now, those counterclaims might, in fact, be true, but if it's an on-balance argument that you're going to be making, then you need to tell us what the advocate's claim was and how on balance this is going to be weighed. Especially given the first piece of information that you cite that says 70% of the products that people consume have genetically modified ingredients in them, then that should suggest that there is a lot of quantifiable harm that can be attributed to those foods. You give a long list of a whole variety of those potential harms, but you only argue any evidence supporting two of them, one on birth weight of babies and another on asthma links. And I think that you did a pretty good job presenting the evidence that links those to particular harms. I don't know if those health harms, for instance, contradict the claims that the advocate presented, and I don't even know what the advocate's claims were because you didn't list those. On the environmental harms, I think you've got a good general argument on potential problems with the genetically modified plants, although I'm not sure if that's the same thing as the genetically modified foods that we're talking about, so there may be some question of this application here. The idea that particular diseases could crop up, I guess that's kind of an oxymoron. They couldn't crop up if they were diseases, but that's just an odd thought the way it's expressed. But the idea that there are viruses that could become problematic, I think you need to have a clear explanation about what that means. It sounds like it's a good potential disadvantage type argument to using genetically modified plants, but how it connects to the arguments that the advocate was presenting is not particularly clear. I did think that you summarized the points that you made reasonably well, doing a little bit more reading than you want to, and you need to, like I said, kind of connect the arguments you're making to the ones that the advocate made. All right.